So, hello everyone. Not the video I planned, but it's been on off raining all day, and when it has rained, it is hammered down. So, I figured we'd have a little snuggle with Lulu. Most of them are in front of the fire, because, you know, Dalmatians and heat and all that. You a sweetheart, Lou. Yeah. You good boy. You good boy. Yeah. Yeah. This is life with Lulu. Yeah. Throw a ball a few times outside. Give him his food because he loves his food. And then just cuddle him. And he's a happy Dalmatian. Yeah. He's a happy boy in you. He's happier than he looks, I promise. Leave Jazz alone, you pervert. Jazz is behind me. So now what I actually thought I would talk about is seasons. Since Jazz is in season and Nala came in. I think she came in yesterday, but I only saw blood today. So normally you count from the first day you saw blood. But if you've only got one girl and you saw like a spot of blood on the floor, then you know it's from your girl. As long as you've eliminated injuries and stuff, and then nobody in the house has bled, then you know it's her. Whereas like for me, because Jazz is bleeding, you know, I might have seen a spot of blood yesterday that was Nala's, but I just saw it and cleaned it up thinking it was Jazz's. So anyway, I'm counting from today, but I'm very confident in that I know Nala, to know when I need to really keep her away from the boys. But as it's going to work out, Jazz will be kept away from them before Nala will be, so it's not a problem anyway, because the boys will be away from her far sooner than what they absolutely need to be because of Jazz. So yeah, when you've got multiple girls, they can bring one another in, but what the pattern I tend to see is like certain girls come in together. So like now Nala's in, that means Jude will come in, because Nala and Jude have cycled together the last 2-3 seasons at least. And the last sort of group of seasons, it was Raven and Arya. And I think the seasons before that, it was Phoebe and Pumpkin, I want to say. So anyway, they do sort of just cycle together. That is a like nature thing, because if like one girl gets bred and the other girl doesn't, the one that doesn't will more than likely have a phantom pregnancy. Will probably have a stronger phantom pregnancy because one girl is pregnant and they can sense that and smell that, and they know that girl's pregnant way before I know. And then they will have a stronger phantom, which means they will almost certainly have milk and they can help feed puppies. And it is also a backup should anything happen to the actual mother. So that's very much a nature survivalist thing that a lot of the canine species will do. I don't know if you know about wolves, but usually it's the alpha pair that breed. The other females don't, but the other females, well, the whole pack helps to raise the litter of cubs. I say cubs, pups. It is wolf pups. For some reason, whenever it's wild things, I want to say cubs. So like, you know, it is lion cubs, it is cheetah cubs. But then like wild dog pups, I always want to say cubs, and the same for wolves. Anyway, brain fart aside. So the cycle of a female dog kind of looks roughly, and it is roughly, they are bleeding, usually reasonably heavily for a dog, that is, for the first 9 days or so. Then that blood or that fluid will gradually lighten up. And then they're normally fertile around day 10, 11, for 3 to 4 days. And like that's average timing, But like I've known a GSP bitch come and visit Hector. If you guys are OGs of the channel, you will remember Hector. And she came on day 8 of her season, because that is when she was ready, and he covered her on day 8, and she had puppies that lined up that day 8 was her peak day. And the following year she came back for another litter, and again she was ready on day 8. Now luckily that owner, he did have a stud dog at home that was a different breed, so that was a good tell, and he could tell because he'd bred enough, and luckily he was confident enough in that he like knew the signs of when she was ready to be covered, even if the timing was different to the average. And then Lily, again, OGs of the channel will remember Lily. She, for her second litter, she wasn't ready for first cover until day 18. Now, for the 3 litters we had from Lily, she was ready on a different day each time. So, yeah, that varies. And then, like with when they come in season, like how long they go in between their seasons, that varies. Some will fall into a very easy, like every 6 months, or Disney was like every 11 months, and she was solid in that. Phoebe's pretty solid in that she's once a year, usually in January-ish time. But everybody else is a bit different and a little bit more all over the place. I think like sometimes having a litter can delay their next season. On paper it shouldn't, but I think it does delay them sometimes. And then I also think that being around other dogs that are coming in bring them in quicker than like their normal. Say Jude used to be every 8 months, and that has changed. So other girls coming in obviously give her hormones a bit of a kick to fall in with that cycle with them. But that isn't too important for other people who haven't got loads of girls like me. But yeah, so then once the fluid goes lighter, they're getting fertile. Then they're fertile for like 4 days max, roughly. Again, can vary girl to girl. And then their season, they take about a week then to come out of season. And some girls will allow the male on them sooner than what they're ready. Some will allow the male on them after their peak days, when like the fertility is gone, but they will still let a male on them, and because they still smell of a season, because they're still swollen, the male still will. So part of the reason I'm going to say this is I don't walk my girls in season after their first week until they're out of season. And that is part of the reason why, because the male's swimmers can survive in the female for 5 to 7 days. So if a male got on them early, she could still get pregnant because they live inside her. So that's one reason. But also, as the season progresses, the scent of your girl will get stronger and stronger. So you are giving a bit of a calling card basically back to your address where your in-season girl is, by walking her, and she wheezes or she drips as she's walking, and the males will track her back to her house or your house. And they will jump fences, they will dig under fences, they will climb things, they will chew through things. You know, the drive to reproduce is very strong in some dogs, so you've got to be really careful of that. And then one, you could go, well, oh, my backyard's secure, I'm going to keep her on lead, I'm going to walk her anyway. Please don't. Or if you do, carry her from your house to your car, then drive her miles up the mountain and still keep her on lead, but don't cross any roads, because twice Dudley, when he was still entire, took him for a walk and got nearly to the bottom of the drive. He picked up the scent of an in-season bitch and he was running nose to the floor, because they'd walked their in-season bitches in the field, and then they lived, he carried on down the drive, crossed the road, and then to like one of the flats or one of the houses. So he was running looking for the in-season bitch, and he crossed the main road twice, each time looking for the in-season bitch. Now, he didn't get run over, but he could have. And like, I'm not psychic. I didn't know he picked up the scent until he picked it up and he was already gone. So I had no time to react. And, you know, it's not like their scent or their marking or their pee is like bright orange that you can see it on grass and dirt and gravel. Like, I had no clue. They shouldn't be walking in the field anyway, it's private property. But beside the point, like, that could have killed Dudley. And my advice is the same to all of my puppy owners. Please don't walk them when you're risking an unwanted pregnancy, which, particularly like Jazz's age, she's like 8 months old. She is not ready to have a pregnancy. Her body isn't ready. As much as her hormones and the reproductive system thinks she is, she isn't. And then you can get an injection to terminate a pregnancy, but it is risky. I personally do know of a bitch that got pyometra after having that injection because she'd already closed up, and then, yeah, that terminated and all that stuff stayed inside and got infected. So that could have killed her, plus it cost a lot of money for an emergency spay, plus the injection itself isn't cheap, plus it was 2 consults with a vet. It was just a whole mess. So, you know, that isn't an injection without its risks. And it is not going to kill your girl to miss a week of walking or 2 weeks of walking. It really isn't. And like, you don't really have to wait 2 weeks. That's like me being really careful. But yeah, I'd rather be careful, you know. And I know I've got a field I can run my dogs in. And do you know what? After the peak days are over with your bitch, but you're not quite sure the scent is completely gone or the swelling hasn't completely gone down, go and book a secure dog field. Give her a nice run in there. Or if you've got friends that have got a field or horses, you can just say, like, she's in season, she could really do with a run, but she's not quite ready to be out in public yet. I'm sure your friends would let you. But anyway, secure dog field would be of good use at this sort of time. And your girls will be quieter, they will be cuddlier. I think they're more prone to gaining weight after a season, like immediately after. I think it's a change in hormones, and it's like the body sort of going, you know, preparing for babies. So I think it changes the metabolism a bit. I think I've never read anything that's confirmed that, but for certain, even reducing the food because they're not exercising, they still end up gaining, and they still seem more prone to weight gain no matter what I do. So I think it does do something to their metabolism, and it would make sense that it does, because pregnancy is very demanding on the body. So anyway, hope you've enjoyed this, and it's a very different video to what I planned to upload, but equally I think it's a very important video, and it's very, I don't know, it's a good time for it because I got 2 in season. Certainly is on my mind. Plus I know that at least one of Jazz's sisters is in at this time as well. She came in a few days later than Jazz, and that's another thing. If you haven't had, you girls haven't had their first seasons, quite often litter sisters will come in at a similar time. Even later on in life, it's really weird that Nala and her 2 sisters, they kind of went 1 month after the other of having their babies. So they were all in within like a 3-month window of one another, but it was one of her other sisters first. It's Nala in the middle, and there was another sister afterwards. But yeah, random information, I know. that's absolutely pointless to everybody else. But anyway, hope you enjoyed, and hopefully I can get the recall video, the practical one, filmed soon. But there's no point in this weather because they don't want to be out in it. They ain't going to go far from me, or they wouldn't recall to me if they've come in the stable or under the carport, like away from the rain, and I'm trying to call them out into the rain. It's not going to be a good example of recalling. So hopefully soon I can get that filmed for you guys. So yeah, see you all soon. Bye.